Hi Fast Track Profit fans! I believe you have all been busy reading up on the latest Budget 2022 that was released on 18 February, charting a new way forward. As mentioned by our Finance Minister, these tax adjustments will help to raise additional revenue and also contribute to a fairer revenue structure. That means everyone chips in and contributes to a vibrant economy and strengthens social compact, but those with greater means contribute a larger share. This video is only going to cover two parts, the change in our personal income tax and the residential property tax. We will explore what the changes are and what are its possible impacts on us and our assets, and then how we can reposition or realign our ship with the mothership and benefit from all of it. Okay? First off, personal income tax. The adjustments are from the present max tax percentage of 22% to 24%. Let us take a look at how significant this is on a personal level.
So here is what it is. Year assessment 2014 to 2016. We may have forgotten that, but at that time we were only paying a tax rate of up to 20%, right? And at a cap of 320K. Yep, for a progressive tax rate for at 8 categories. So I've broken it down here just for fun, okay, and so for you to take a look. This is how the increase is like at different brackets, right? Every $10,000, the next $40,000, from 1.5 to 3.5 to 4.5%, all the way down to 20%. Yeah, and as an individual at that time, right, for a 200K income, you have been paying a gross tax rate of $20,750. And if you are earning $1 million at a time, right, your first 320 will have been 42,350. This is where it is. And the balance, which is a 680K, would have been taxed at 20%. And the total tax payable at that time for this individual was at $178,000, right? Okay. But back in 2017, something has changed. And here is what we are experiencing today. This was a previous tax rate, right? They actually increased it by another two more categories, and now the maximum tax rate payable was 22%. Yeah. So again, this is a breakdown for you to take a look, right? Obviously, in any structure, it's very heavy for the first 200K, right? This is where the majority of the population is actually generating income. So now let's just take a look in terms of these two individuals, a 200K and a 1 million. What is the tax difference then and back from now to 2023? You can see at a 200K level, yeah, the increase now will have been only a couple $100, yeah, and but for this $1 million, right, income, what they used to pay back in 2016 was $108,000, but this change that took form in 2017 has actually increased because now it's by 2% more, right, for the next 680. There was a jump. Instead of 178, she has jumped to 194150. All right, and that was $15,800 higher for the higher income earners. All right, so that is, to me, that is quite significant because it's a huge quantum leap of $15,800 increase, right? And today, if we look at the brand new tax rate, again, there's two new categories. We used to have the first 320, right? Now they have changed this now to the first 500. So there is a change of the 180 for 22%. And then we have 23% for the next $500,000. And of course, anything in excess of $1 million is 24%, right? So I'm just going straight into the 2024 onwards. What is the tax rate going to be? There is not going to be any change in terms of the tax payable for the first 320K, right? So you take a look here. Again, this is the breakdown. There's no change, right? For if you make for the first 320K, there's no difference. So I think in terms of this budget 2022, this change will not affect majority of us. And we thought that it will affect the really high earners in Singapore, but in actual fact, not that much, because for a $1 million income, right, the difference they're paying now and In 2024, it's only a difference of $5,000. So not much.
This tweak has created an increase of revenue for the country of 170 million per annum. What I see from this is that it did not change much for the people earning up to the first 320k. But it will have a small difference in the property yield for owners in this income bracket with rental properties. Depending on how many rental properties you own, that income will be stacked on top of your existing income bracket. So this is where I always propose for all of you to use the real estate hack strategy for you to cushion that increase. Alright? Next, let's talk about property tax. This will change from 2023 for owner-occupied and non-owner-occupied residential properties. So what is the meaning of owner-occupied? Well, that is the home you live in, that is registered in your NRIC, while non-owner-occupied are residential properties that you own but do not live in, essentially rental units. Now, all properties in Singapore has something called the annual value, and how this value is being derived is the estimated gross annual rent of the property if it were to be rented out, excluding your furniture, furnishings, and maintenance fees. It is determined based on the estimated market rentals of similar or comparable properties and not on the actual rental income received, right? So what does this mean? It will mean that if you rent out your property to someone on a friendship rate, your annual value is not based on that, but rather on the similar or comparable units, alright? Okay, so what are the changes? The tax rate for owner-occupied properties will be raised from 10 to 20% to 11 to 27% in 2023, and then 12 to 36% in 2024. And this would mean an increase of 2 to 16%. Let us take a look.
Well, so this is the owner-occupier tax rates. This is the present tax rates, right? The first 8K, as you can see, has been absorbed, and it continues from 4% all the way to a cut-off of 130K, and thereafter a 16%. So effectively, it's a 2% jump at every 15,000 intervals, right? This is cut off at the first 55,000, you enjoy a 4% owner-occupied tax rate, right? And that's to give you more clarity. This is my personal property. This is the house that I'm living in. So you see, this is the tax assessment for 2022. They have valued this at the annual value of 37,200, of which they minus off the first 8,000, right? And thereafter, the balance 29,200 will be at 4%, and I pay 1,168 for this property. Okay. Now, what's going to be the change then? For me, I have jumped directly into when this will be fully implemented, right? And you can see this will then, instead of a normal 2% up, like what you've seen from the earlier chart, this increases from 4%, all right, and then to a 6% jump, all the way to a 32%, right? And you'll notice that the progressive tax brackets has been changed also. Yeah, previously it's a 130 cutoff, now it was a first 100K, and thereafter you hit a flat rate of 32%. Now, let's now look into how this is going to change all of us, all right? Okay. Now, we put this side by side. This is the owner-occupied buyer tax rate. The first 8,000 is the same, right? And then you continue all the way down. You realize that for the 55,000 here, it has been then now changed to the first 30K increased by $10,000 and $15,000, all right, for the annual value, and it cuts off at 100K instead of 130K. Yep. The jump again will be from here, right? 10% all the way to 32%, and you can see that the difference, for example, in the past, for the first 55,000, you pay 1,880, but then when it's fully implemented in 2024, you will then pay 2,980, right? And previously, for the first 100K, you pay 5,480. You will then pay, I think it's more than double, 11,980 for owner-occupier tax rates, right? So for me, when I saw this, and read this article, I got really curious, and I wanted to know how different it could be, right? for both ends. One as owner occupier and the other occupied properties, sorry, and the other one would be non-owner occupied properties, right? So I started to buy the reports of some properties around the island to check on its annual value to share with all of you, right? The different types and location. Here, I pull out a property in Lakeville. Lakeville is located at Lakeside, right? It's quite a new property. 4 bedroom, 1302 square feet. The market price today is about 1.95 million, and the annual value given was at 33,000. So this will be the tax rate you'll be paying, $1,000, right? The Anchorage, this is a freehold property, a very nice location in Alexandra area. 1647 square feet, market price about 2.5, annual value is lesser, and presently the owners will be paying $928. Valley Park, okay, this is the place that I like a lot. River Valley area, 2 bedroom, 1216 square feet, 2.4 million, annual value 28,800, right? They pay 832 today. Marina One Residences, new property, heart of Singapore, CBD area, Marina area, right? 1539 square feet, present property, market price around 4.3 million. Okay, annual value given for 2022 assessment is 64,800, and therefore they will pay a 2468 property tax rate. Yep. Then you have my property landed Corner Terrace. This is the land size, about $4.2 million, 37,200, 1168. And the other one, lastly, I'm showing you is a detached property located in District 15. Land size about 6,200, market price around 11.5 million. The annual value for such a property is about 114,000, right? So presently they are paying a property tax rate of $7,160. So let us now look at what is going to happen when it's fully implemented in 2024. Bam, this is where you see, right? This is a jump, right? And you can see how this is going to affect all of us. And most importantly, how can we all be prepared for it in the next 2 years, right? Here, you realize that for annual values below 40K, I think the increase is really not so significant, but it's a little bit more significant for larger properties. 64,800 Marina One Residences will pay in excess close to wow, it's about almost 2 grand, right? Increase a year. And for a large detached property, it's more than double. And this is for owner occupied. All right. So I think this tells you that as the country progresses, the rates will not stay put as it is. All right. And in future, definitely, I believe that this will be tweaked once it's deemed necessary. So I feel that if you're looking and working yourself into wanting to live in a large property like a detached property, or even if slightly smaller, all right, I think you got to start planning for the provisions of paying this property taxes in future when you are in your retirement years. If not, and if you didn't plan well in terms of your cash flow, you realize that the property tax will kind of erode your cash flow and your nest egg. Okay. Don't know whether it makes sense to you, yeah? Now, next, let's look into non-owner occupier residential tax rate. So this is effectively our Singapore dream, right? Building up our property portfolio. Therefore, before being an investor or as an investor, we need to know our cost. This is our present cost, right? We pay up to a cap of 90,000, right? And thereafter a flat rate of 20%. So you pay 10% all the way to 20%, all right? This will be the new rates. It's so slick now, right? From 5 progressive categories to now only 3 categories, okay? You pay from an increase of 2% here, 12% all the way to double, right? 36%, yeah? Now let's just compare this side by side. So for the first 30,000, right, you can see all the way to now, the cutoff is at 60. thousand, right? And this will be the tax rate from 12 to 36. Yeah. So it's quite a huge jump. Here you can observe that this is just a 2% jump. This is a 8% jump, right? It's huge, right? I personally think that any annual values above 60K is scary, right? It's just too much, yeah. So let's look back in the property again. Lakeville, if you have bought this property and leased it out, all right, you'll be paying 3360 today, right? This is for the Anchorage, Valley Park, Marina One Residences, the landed property, right? Corner terrace and detached property. Now, you realize that in general, right, the present rates, most properties, you actually pay for your property tax less than perhaps a month of rental collected. All right. Yes, we have not factored in the GST increase all this yet, but actually the real formula, the best, is to have 10 months of rental to cover all cost. Now, let's see how this is going to change 2 years from now. Lakeville will jump close to $1,000. All right. Anchorage, okay, this is, I'm assuming, guys, that the annual value stay puts up. If the annual value goes up, obviously this rate also goes up. Yeah. The huge change, I realized that not the huge change. I think there is not much change within the 40K annual value mark, right? You realize, you can see Valley Park at 28800, not much of an increase. It's not so significant, right? The huge jump will be for Marina One, 64,800 of annual value, from 7668 to 12,000, and then for the large landed properties, from 16,000 to 30,000. All right. Marina One today is going for a 7,000 rental, right? So if we factor in the future GST increase, the GST will be also taxed on agency fees. Agency fees has to be paid. The overall cost will increase, and the margins will thin. All right, and hence I personally believe that this in this increase, the tenants will also share this burden. All right, everyone has to chip in, and therefore tenants has to also, if you're listening this for the tenants, be ready to pay more because there is more cost on the landlord side. Okay.
This tweak has created an increase of revenue for the country of 380 million per year. I think this is a property cooling measure cleverly put into the budget 2022. All right. And you also realize that this is a flanked strategy that as an investor, you are taxed on both sides. Right? I also think that the CCR and high value properties are going to be hit the hardest, especially after including the other measures introduced in December 2021. The widened price gap should start to narrow, and once that happens, the rest will start to follow. So does that mean that our Singapore dream of owning multiple properties is crushed? Of course not. It just means we need to ask another question when you look for a property for investment. And that is, what is the annual value? And factor that into your calculation table. If you have been following my other videos, from the cooling measures to the quarterly review of the private market, and now this video, a clue will have popped out on which market will be moving in the next 2 years. And you haven't guessed it, that is the commercial market. I'm still very bullish with the correct shophouse and have been looking around for the past 5 months. This is the only segment of market that is not affected with SSD, ABSD, no change in property tax, it still stands at 10%, a far cry from 36%, right? And open to foreigners. In conclusion, just from these two taxation, 550 million of revenue has been created. And what this means is that we are and will still be on track to attracting global companies, foreign talents, foreigners taking up the pledge calling Singapore their home, and possible continued increase in family offices. Guys, all of these will only mean more revenue for the country, which they will reallocate to reinvesting back into the country, the community, social infrastructure, healthcare, education, transport, green initiatives, and all the others. And most importantly, what does all this mean to us, to all of you watching this video? The correct properties that you put your money in, its prices will not stay the same 10 years from now. Alright? Thank you all for taking time to watch this video. My name is Darren Ng. Stay safe, be well, and God bless.